Hello everyone, this is Ross from retrodreambeam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out today on Thursday. Last night when I went to sleep, there wasn't as many sales. When I woke up, there was a lot of offers that like Netta dealt with, and a lot of stuff actually ended up selling, but it was looking kind of grim yesterday. All right. First thing is going to be a lot of 10 of these Dice Masters Age of Ultron booster packs. This comes with 2 cards, 2 dice. This is a game by WizKids. I don't think it's around anymore, but you can still pick up stuff. It's relatively cheap. There are like rares and chase rares and stuff within the packs. I demoed the game and like when it first came out a long time ago. So you're like dueling with a deck of cards, and then they have like different dice that they represent, and then you duel someone. You like roll the dice, you send out your minions, and then you do battles, and all the cards have special abilities. These end up going for $13.99 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping, so I'll save us the time right now. All right, next up is going to be this board game expansion by a company called Board Game Table. Where did I put it? All right over here. So board game tables were at conventions, and they would do they would sell board game tables, where they eventually started selling like their own like accessories, bags to carry board games, and also board games themselves. This one right here is supposed to be expansion for Mountain Goats, Sequoia, and GPS. This is missing the Mountain Goats part, so I mentioned that, but it has the other 2 expansions for the other games. This ended up going for $27.99. All right, next, I haven't played any of these games, so I can't talk about it. And then these are just expansions to it. Sometimes expansions sell for more than base games. Moving along, we have this. This is going to be heavily incomplete. This is super heavy. This is going to be, I never played this. Orcs Must Die, the board game, Unchained edition. So this is going to be a specific special edition. This doesn't have a lot of the stuff in it. Like I put in the title, heavily incomplete. It doesn't have the miniatures, which would have made, the whole complete game would have been the best, but the miniatures would have been second best. So yeah, it still has the box, the insert, and then like a lot of the different pieces and stuff like I still have in here. But yeah, this ended up going for $17.49. I've heard people talk about this game briefly, but I don't remember what their like opinion was on it, if it was like a popular one or not. All right, next up is going to be some World War II miniatures, German mountain troops. This is going to be like one of those little kits, or I guess like these come in box sets. You've seen me sell like the individual figures out of the box. I don't think this is one that has sprues. You just open up and like you get all the figures. Been doing really well selling the military figures. This ended up going for $15.74. This one's going eBay International. Have a lot of international sales recently, or at least in like the past year or 2. We use the eBay International shipping program, and it's been really good. All right, next up is going to be like an educational supply kit, organic chemistry set right here. I don't even remember I got this. I probably got this alongside other miniature kits and other random stuff. But yeah, someone's going to appreciate this. This ended up going for $9.09. That's not like typically our wheelhouse, but we will pick up like educational like flashcards and stuff, as long as they kind of like look unique and look like fun for someone to enjoy, whether it's for kids or adults. All right, moving along, we have a strategy guide book for a PC game. This is going to be Battlezone by Activision. I never played this particular PC game, but you see that I pick up the strategy guide books. I usually get between like $8 to $20, and some strategy guide books, if they're rare for a specific game or if they have a specific insert, can sell for more. This ended up going for $8.39, which is, like I just said, usually what I get for these strategy guide books. And they're pretty cheap, so I don't pay too much for them. All right, next up is going to be Avalon Squad Leader. This is just going to be 4 different reference charts for the Avalon Squad Leader game. It's like the little chit tokens. You make these scenarios. There's a ton of modules, which are the expansions. You see me sell the hex boards all the time. I'll also get other random bits and pieces to the game, and then I just list them. Someone paid $6.29 for 4 reference sheets. These games are pretty complicated and detailed, so it's usually nice to have like a reference sheet or guide nearby. So if you need to know, like how terrain works or how attacking someone works in a specific situation, you don't have to pull out the big rule book. All right. Next up, I can't really show it because it's just like already baggied, but these are cool. Like 2 of them, they're 80s Dungeons and Dragons painted little miniatures. These are actually like super well done. There's like a sorceress lady with her staff, and then there's also like a ranger who has like a dagger on one side and like a wooden stick in the other. So someone's probably gonna use these for role-playing games to represent their figures, or dungeon masters can use it to represent NPCs in the game. $15.12 for these 2. These were pretty well painted, and they were like cool 80s figures. They looked older when I got those. All right, then like modern day. Next up, finally sold some of the painted Warhammer 40K. These are the Stormcast Vindictors, I think. I showed a video where I bought a collection of Magic the Gathering sealed boxes, and then a Warhammer army that someone like professionally painted. They bought a set of 10 of these Vindictors. This is also going eBay International. These end up going for $70. So they sent an offer. I think I had it listed for like, after the sale price, it hit like an 80 or 90. Someone sent a $60 offer. I countered at 70. I didn't know if they would take it. I think they took time to think about it and then they picked it up. I think they're really going to like it in person. I do my best in pictures to show like how well painted they are, but I really think that they look better in person than on pictures, no matter how good you are with pictures. $70 for that one. So that's pretty good. All right, next up, I forgot to grab it, but it's in the other room. It's going to be the World of Warcraft TCG. There was these dungeon decks, and within the dungeon decks, you get like a rewards pack, which is the most expensive. Then you'll have a little deck of cards that the players are playing co-op against, and that deck of cards is what represents like the dungeon that you're going through. So there's just a pack of the little dungeons. For the Scarlet Monastery dungeon, it's just a packet for that, which is still a pretty rare thing to find. That pack of cards sold for $27.99. That's for the World of Warcraft trading card game. It's not around anymore. All right, next up is going to be a bunch of pieces for the Warhammer role-playing game or role-play fantasy. I don't know if it's like a board game. I think it's a role-playing game, obviously, because that's in the title, but there's like a lot of bits and pieces. I've never played it. So I have 3 baggies worth of all these pieces for the Warhammer fantasy role-play game. So you have all these. Some of them are like not punched out yet. There's cards here, character sheets. I have more tokens, some punch, some not. More player cards, just a bunch of stuff, and then like another baggie. So this was split up in 3 in baggies. A bunch of cards here, either equipment, spells, monsters. But yeah, I write notes at the storage unit, 3 of 3, so I knew that there was going to be 3 different bags. Sometimes putting too many of these board game pieces in one bag is going to get like cards bent and stuff, so sometimes I have to separate them. It gets awkward. $19.59 for that. All right. Next up, I think I already sold this one and I relisted another. This is the Game of Thrones living card game All Men Are Fools cycle pack. Game of Thrones and living card games were not collectible, so you would buy like a base set, then every like 3 or 4 months, like quarterly, so they can keep it as a business. New cards would come out. You buy the pack, you get 3 copies of everything. So like this is going to be cards 1 through 20. This is for the Blood and Gold cycle. They would do cycles, meaning like usually for like a year, it'll be like this is what the focus is the game's going to be on. And like I said, you would go every few months, buy your pack. You don't have to worry about rarities. You don't have to worry about singles. You don't have to spend too much money. But yeah, this particular pack sold for $9.45. I always wanted to play the Game of Thrones living card game, but it seemed to do well with 4 players. It's hard enough for me to get in 1 player to play a game at this point in time, but to find 4 to like maximize experience, because there's going to be more stuff than just battling. There's going to be like, gold trading. There's going to be like political power. There's going to be influence. So that stuff kind of works well when there's more people to like negotiate or debate over that type of thing. So I've technically never actually played the game. I read the rules and I own the core set somewhere in the other room, I think. All right, that's also going to repeat buyer. Maybe they bought my other Game of Thrones cycle pack. I sold one yesterday or a couple days ago. All right, next up is going to be this Japanese Schrodinger hero, some kind of expansions for some kind of like anime style board game. This is also going international, so it's just a particular hero. Sometimes expansions for board games will just be like, a character you can play, and that's the full expansion or extension pack, however you want to like word it. But yeah, someone ended up picking this one up for $25.20. I haven't heard or seen this before. Like I said, it's Japanese. All right, next up is going to be a vintage of pair of keys. People collect keys. I mean, people collect anything and everything. But yeah, someone bought these 2 keys. They have like a little bump ridge on them. We'll sell a lot of like stuff that you find in like drawers at estate sales, or little tchotchkes or paper ephemera. We like the category. We used to pick up a lot of this stuff. We just haven't found any recently. But yeah, a set of random keys right here, and I'm going for $10.49. All right, next up is going to be Warlord Games Epic. Yeah, I think it's Epic Battles. Epic Battles. Where is it? The bases? Where did I put the bases? They're somewhere. They're right here. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Got a bunch of these bases, and they were kind of sitting nearby me a couple months ago, and I kept being lazy to list them, and I listed them all, and they've been selling pretty quick, so maybe my price is good, or like at the perfect price point where people keep picking them up. This is going to repeat buyer for $22.39, but yeah, these are just bases with little slots in here that where you can put your miniatures on them for that particular game. So that's 5 of these sprues right here. I still have a couple more of the smaller sets left to sell, but then it's almost going to be all of them. It's kind of cool to list a bunch of one thing and then to see most of it sell. All right, that's kind of rare for me. Next up is going to be, usually it's like long tail stuff for me. Like it takes a while for stuff to sell for me. All right, Twilight Imperium, Ashes of Power role-playing game. This is going to be another one of these. I keep selling it. Maybe I could increase the price by $1 or $2 because I keep selling, but I'll be okay. I probably have like another 20 of these or so. This is going to be based off the board game Twilight Imperium. It's this space sci-fi storytelling epic board game that you play. I'm not a fan of it, but I know a lot of people like it. And there's like 30 different races you can play. You flip over your race board in the back of the game, and there's a bunch of lore. So eventually people like the lore of the game, so then they made a role-playing game for it so people could appreciate it in that sense. $7.09 for that. Ready relisted one. All right. Next up is going to be Mech Warrior. This is going to be a pack card, special powers and ability card. This is going to be for the WizKids game with the little mechs, the tanks, the infantry, little dials, just like HeroClix. Before HeroClix was the mainstay for WizKids, they tried Mage Knight, they tried Mech Warrior. I know they tried some other ones as well. Marvel and DC heroes end up being the most popular, which is HeroClix these days, which still throw other IPs into HeroClix at this point. But this is the thing that tells you all of the powers and abilities based off of color and in what symbol it's next to. So like this is a little missile right here. So on the miniature, if there's a missile, and then next to it, if the number is surrounded by blue, it's going to be anti-personnel, whatever that ability is. This one, if it's black, surrounded by black, the number, it's going to be streak missiles, and then it tells you like the rules of the game. So people like having these when they don't have them all memorized. There's usually like 40-something abilities. I used to have all them memorized for HeroClix, not anymore, and then they update the rules and starter sets. So I definitely don't know how HeroClix works right now. But $8.39 for the little pack card. I have another one. I got a collection of Mech Warrior, and I got a bunch of like the dice and accessories, and I list those one at a time. That sold, so I relisted another one. So I think I sold one of those before. This is also going to a repeat buyer. All right, next up is going to be Just the Right Shoe. This is going to be, which one is this? This is Pretty Penny. These were going to be these shoes that were like little collectibles that came alongside, I believe, the actual shoe, like the actual shoe someone would buy. Some of my pictures are too good with this, where people always ask me the size of it, and I'm like, no, it's just a little collectible thing, but people still pick them up. Got these for free from some lady that knew that we did eBay. She didn't really want them anymore, so she said either donate them or sell them or toss them out if you don't want them. I listed all of them, and they were doing pretty well. This one went for $4. This isn't like the most expensive one, but for free $99, we'll take it. All right, next up is going to be Warhammer 40K Underworlds. This is going to be a deck, a Rivals deck right here. Which faction was this? Word Hollow. There you go, Word Hollow. Maybe that was expansion. But yeah, there's going to be the cards for the actual miniatures and their abilities. Warhammer Underworlds is going to be more of a tactical game where you get 4 to 8 guys, depending on what faction you pick, and then you're fighting over territories, and you're trying to collect, I think they're called power points and stuff like that. And then you craft your deck. You actually have to craft your deck. A lot of these box sets, which come with miniatures and the boards and the rules, would also come with Rivals decks and sometimes extra cards that people can fix their deck with. This little deck went for $18.89. I think I just separated them by how they would come in the box sets, but people can still mess around with their deck. All right, next up is going to be Dragon Shield. This is going to be the most popular trading card game sleeve. I've been out of Magic for 5 years, but I would assume that this is still the popular brand. This is kind of #1 for a long time. Dragon Shield, they've been around for a long time too, and they've innovated on their sleeve. And they're just the sleeve that doesn't rip as much when people shuffle, so they're meant for playing. This is going to be the Crimson Matte color. Dragon Shield also does these different holiday ones, and sometimes they'll do a one-and-done print run. It might be for Valentine's Day or Halloween or a special occasion. Sometimes those sleeves can go for a pack of them $30, $40, $50 because these are also collectible as a sleeve. So not a lot of people know that exactly. Some people will buy cases of the special ones just to save them and then flip them later on. So a lot of interesting stuff going on with the card game world. $6 for this. This was just a used pack. This was actually sleeving Warhammer Underworlds cards. Their whole collection was sleeved in Dragon Shield Matte, so I separated them and listed them both. So it's extra stuff to sell on top of just the cards themselves. A lot of people would put that stuff to the side, not know what brand it was, or just toss it away. And I like to get the little extra sales from that stuff. Sometimes the sleeves can be super rare. $6 for that, like I mentioned. All right, next up is going to be some dice. I don't know what board game these are for. These are numbers 1 through 5, and then they have a blank number, so no 6. It's a blue color, and then a black and a brown or / green. Bunch of little D5 dice, not D6. I mean, they're still in the shape of a D6, but it's a blank for the 6. So couldn't figure out what game this was. I still listed it, took good pictures. $10 for these, which is pretty good for some dice. And last up for the day is going to be this duck planter right here. We used to get ceramics and stuff like this. Not something we would get these days now, unless it was really cheap and they were kind of like super unique looking. But people can use this for, probably planting or for a house plant or maybe outdoors, storage for something else. You never really know what someone's gonna use it for. Just a duck. We used to find a bunch of duck stuff around us, and people were buying a bunch of it in 2021. We were doing really well with selling like different duck collectibles and ceramics and stuff like that. So I don't know how popular it is now because most of our stuff sold and we haven't picked up new stuff. Then only went for $5. Super old listing. I tell by my backdrop, the dollar store backdrop, that was an old one. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hope everyone's having a good week so far.